Ladies and gentlemen, it is another crazy day, but we're going to be talking about the UN now is begging for the Federal Reserve not to raise rates. We're going to see a whole bunch of problems within the companies of the iBuyers, and we're going to be looking in what we can do to transform these empty buildings into condo units. Now, let's get into it for today. We're going to be having a whole bunch of stories, you guys. Thank you very much for coming on. Let's jump into the first article of the day, and then I want you to let me know what you guys think of it. So the first article of the day, I want you to go to fortune.com, fortune.com. In the article, it is Wall Street, U.S. housing market to see the second biggest home price decline since the Great Depression. This is going to be massive. We have never seen interest rates go up as fast as they have in the past few months. We are seeing that only the Great Depression and the Great Recession saw nationwide home prices fall in the double digits range. This is going to be huge. That's not good company to be keeping only within the Great Depression and the Great Recession. Now, that is not over yet. The home price decline will continue the longer the rates stay up this high. Now, Morgan & Stanley is saying that home prices will fall 7%, but we're expecting home prices to fall a lot more than that. In Toronto and in the major cities, we're seeing homes dropping 25, 30% regularly. Every single day we're seeing that. But as a nation, the U.S. is only going to be dropping probably 10 to 15. Goldman Sachs is saying 5 to 10%. But remember, this is including every goat farm and doghouse going down by 10, 15% everywhere. But in the main cities, the more over leveraged you are, the more it's going to drop, the more that they will affect the home prices, right? So this is where you have to actually try to dig through this stuff and see what you guys believe. Because on one side, we have some realtors saying, well, the richest people live inside of their cities. So the richest people can afford it when interest rates go from 1% to 7%. But the people who are farmers, the farm might have been passed down through generations, so it won't affect them. But guys, the more leveraged you are, the more it's going to hurt you. And what I have seen in my lifetime, a lot of people who are worth 100 million, 200 million, those people also have 100, 200 million dollars in debt. So this problem is going to continue. But even if we were not talking about the rich people of the world, if we're just going to focus on the people who are the middle class who are working to get by, the majority of the population is that middle class who is working. Their salaries have not gone up. So adding an extra $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 to the monthly bill will have massive implications. Like I always say, it's not how high the interest rate will go, it's how long it will stay high. Everyone is banking on this to turn off really, really quickly. They're not going to turn it off quickly until there's some massive contagion in the market. But we're seeing some of those cracks happening now. All right, let's jump into our next article, you guys. Our next article that I wanted to show you is also to deal with real estate. It's all to do with real estate today. This is how remote work could cut off a huge value of what's out there. So sorry, man, my website is a little bit slow. So if you go to observer.com, this article says remote work could knock 39% or 50 billion from the value of commercial real estate in New York City. So right now they are sitting at half the capacity that they were during the pandemic. Half. That is a massive amount that is sitting there empty, not getting any rent. Now, some of them may have long leases, but not most of them. So it says here, U.S. could wipe $453 billion off of the value in their coming years. Isn't it funny that we can throw around numbers like that? Billion with a B, okay? $1 billion. So we're talking about $500 billion of real estate could go down the toilet because work from home is not what it's used to be. So absolutely, this is going to go away. The work from home phenomenon is sticking around for a long time. But this is what I say about all cities. This is about Toronto, where I live, and about New York, and about all of them. All that we are left with is culture. Because what we had before, people would flock from other countries and around our country to come to one city because that's where the jobs were. It's always what they said. But now once all the jobs are gone, I can work from home. Then what is the reason for it anymore? Here's the reason. The reason comes down to the fact that you could work from home if you wanted. You could work from home if you wanted, and all that you're left with is the culture. The culture is the restaurants and the King Street and theater, symphony orchestras, friends, all of that. So once we're like demonizing small businesses, they're the things that'll keep the culture alive in that city. Without culture, there will be no city. If you just had a stack of condo buildings, row 100-kilometer thick with no restaurants, nothing, no one would ever come there. We need to preserve the culture that's there because it's no longer the jobs. All right, you guys, let's continue on. Let's go to Zillow. My goodness, guys, Zillow is just another nightmare. Okay, so first of all, Zillow, you guys know a few months ago, they were collapsing, and now Open Door. So it all comes down to something called iBuyers. Do you know what iBuyers are? So you'll see that from Zillow and Open Door. You'll see it from Redfin, a bunch of these companies that you can go on, enter your address, and it'll say, this is the value of your home immediately, sell by clicking a button. Very, very quick. Normally, it's around 11 to 15% under what you could get with a realtor if you put it on the market. But what are you doing? You're getting that convenience, right? Cash right now, get rid of your property. So that's really good. Now, a lot of this stuff opened way back when, before the great financial crisis, and all those companies collapsed because in times of turmoil, they need people who know what they're doing and the skill level. And remember, no algorithm is ever going to be able to outdo a realtor in knowing how much are basements worth here? How much do basements rent for? How much would it cost to renovate this bathroom? Or is it a 4-bedroom big house, or is it a 4-bedroom that was a 2-bedroom and it was converted? It's all limited by that algorithm, right? So you got to be careful. But these are coming up to all of their bankruptcies, just like the great financial crisis. We saw Zillow. It said in its 4-year run, the business resulted in hundreds of millions of dollars of losses. Ouch. Open Door right now, it incurred losses on 42% of their homes sold in August. This is a real big problem. In Los Angeles, 55% of the homes sold by Open Door and 76% of the homes in Phoenix were unprofitable. 76. You can't have a business where you're losing that much money on everything. And so their stocks have been taking some big hits. Now, it says, the article continues, the idea behind iBuying is intriguing, yes, because it could be massively simple, but the profitability and scale has not been shown, which is very true. This is what we've seen all the time, right? So OfferPad is also in a lot of trouble. It's losing a lot of money. Redfin is in a lot of trouble. They've lost $3 million and $54 million together. That is a big problem. They have got a lot of homes on their balance sheet, $17,000 homes. So what are we going to do with all of these properties in major cities? This is going to be the question then. Now, you've seen this in Toronto. I did several videos about what is going on in Toronto. They are going to be taking these old buildings. One of them is, I think it was 80 Young. It was the oldest building in the British Empire. Remember that? Built in 1913. It's probably about 25 stories, and they're going to convert it into condo buildings. There's a massive home shortage, but they don't now. Nobody is bringing back all the workers to work. There's no offices. But here's the difference: on one floor of office, there are only maybe 2 bathrooms, but to convert it into 20 different condo units, now you have to have 20 sets of bathrooms, and it's very, very hard to convert them into that because now you have to have a lot of plumbing, a lot of soundproofing, a lot of kitchen fire codes. Really, really complicated, really, really expensive. But Denver is going down this road, same as Toronto, same as New York. They're considering converting their downtown office buildings to residential units among the housing shortage. So we know that this is very, very popular. It's happening everywhere. The funnest thing that I'm seeing doing the conversions, the 2 funnest things are, number 1, they're converting hotels into condos, into micro condos. That's going really well. They already have usually a little kitchenette, maybe, and they already have their bathrooms. So that's a great idea. And I'm seeing them replace strip malls and turning them to old folks' homes. They already have cargo elevators to bring beds in and out of. They have escalators to help them get to the top floor. Genius. I think mankind is genius to figure this stuff out. I love it. All right. Now, home builders are in a lot of trouble. So, what are home builders doing right now? Because they're not selling to anybody right now. So, home builders right now are offering to sell homes at bulk discounts. So, as mortgage rates are hitting these all time highs, you can look up the article in the Wall Street Journal. Home builders are offering to sell homes in bulk at discounts to investors. They need to get it off their balance sheets. There is a lot of danger in the market right now, and they need anything. I have never received more emails from builders as a broker in my life. I'm getting 10, 15, 20 a day. They are like begging people to buy it. And at these high rates, right? They haven't realized the massive price drops yet. So they're still really, really expensive. Now, what is the biggest nail in the coffin to me? If I look at what the United Nations did today, I've never seen anything like this. I'm wondering if you've ever seen it before. You can go look up this. It's Sky News. Don't raise interest rate. United Nations warns the Federal Reserve and other central banks. The UK economy is forecasted to go down 1% in 2023 amid a series of headwinds. But they're talking to the US Federal Reserve and all of them. It says the US is calling on central banks not to increase central bank rates and depart from its monetary policy being pursued by large number of Western regulators, including the Bank of England, meaning do not raise rates anymore. Their threat, according to the United Nations, is that this would trigger, I'm quoting it, this would trigger a vicious economic circle in which developing world would have more damage lasting longer than the great financial crisis and the COVID shock. And they're estimating an average of $360 billion be lost in the developing world. This I've never seen before. So since when does the United Nations get involved in politics at the level, number one, and get involved in central bank monetary and fiscal policy down to the countries? I've never seen this. Have you ever seen this? Where they're going to be writing an open letter. If you raise rates anymore, you will be collapsing the developing world. That I've never seen before. To me, that is shocking to see that. In addition to that, if you guys were watching what happened last week, we've all heard of the G7, the G20, the top economies of the world. So fortunately, Canada is involved in that group. United States is the biggest economy. Obviously Japan is in there, China's in there. Last week, were any of you paying attention? 3 of the monster economies of the world collapsed and had to be rescued. China, Japan, and the big one in the news was England. England was being torn down. Those pension funds were going under. And if they all didn't rescue their countries by printing another $100 billion each and rescuing the market, they would have imploded. This week would have been a different week. We already would have been in the Stone Age for England. So if we take that, how do we take that and put it to ourselves? If we look at this ourselves, the likelihood of Canada and the United States and all this having to resort to go back to money printing is the most likely scenario. Now, of course, they're going to talk a tough game that they're not going to be lowering that down. Absolutely, 1,000%, they're going to be printing more money. Here is the option that Japan last week, what China last week, and England last week had. They could go into an absolute depression immediately, back to horse and buggy, no food, or they print a lot more money. And all 3 of them took the road to printing more money because they could delay it a little bit longer. That is what's going to happen to Canada and the United States, hands down. So how do you prepare for that? We are heading into an economy where we're going to probably be seeing at least 10% inflation for the next 5 years. Remember, this is not the first time this has happened. If we go back to 1945, after the Second World War, my grandfather came back from the war. There was massive debts everywhere. And what did they do? They printed a lot of money. And after they printed a lot of money, huge inflation on everybody, then the debt to GDP came back into a line. But they had to do it by that huge inflationary tax and get that money from the people. So we're probably going to be facing 10% inflation for the next several years. I know they're talking a good game now. It is wishful thinking. I don't believe that's going to happen. I'm wondering what you think. Is that going to keep happening? I doubt it. But I think we're going to have that. So what do you do to outrun inflation? Who is it going to hurt? It's going to hurt people that are highly leveraged. It's going to hurt pensioners. It's going to hurt anybody with a 9-to-5 job. Those are the people it's going to hurt. Here's the good news. We're going to see home prices really, really come down. Great news for investors. We're going to see stock prices come way down. Great news for us as well. If you have the right mindset and have your financial education on point and you're reading a lot of cool books, I would suggest you guys go read this book. This is an awesome book. The End is Just the Beginning by Peter Zian. Also, try to go read this book by Ray Dalio, The Changing World Order. If you have your game on point, the next 2 years could dictate the next 20 years of your life. Some of the best opportunities you'll ever see. So I'm excited for you. I want you to continue and go crush it. I think that there's some amazing deals that are going to be happening. Homes, real estate are an amazing boat out of this inflationary. You should be able to catch that tailwind, but the right kind. So don't over leverage yourself too much. Anyway, you guys, I'm always there for I want your health, wealth, and happiness to be on point, for you to be crushing it over the next 2 years. And please stay with me through this journey as I try to get to myself. I would like to get to 10 million, and we're going to try to get there. We'll try and get there together. I want the very best for you guys. If you have any questions for me, please send it to me at Rough Team Realty. I would love to hear from you guys. I want you guys to do very, very well. We're developing some books. We got some courses that are coming up, some really exciting stuff. So I hope that you can just take this stuff that we talk about and learn from it and hopefully set yourself up for some massive success. And I want to hear about it. I'd love to hear about all your successes. I wish you the very best, you guys. Have a great night. Nicholas on YouTube, how are you, buddy? Good to see you. I'm going to answer you guys some questions. If you have any questions about housing, about real estate, about buying properties, about selling any properties, opening companies, this is the time to open companies. So Nicholas, how are you on YouTube? Good to see you. Everyone always says, are these fake? Are these fake? And I'm like, nope, this is real. This is me. Just answer me some questions. Ask me some questions and I'll help to get to them. Eric, you said you'd like to move into a Hudson's Bay. I don't know what that is, man. Sorry. Hudson, Otis, how are you, buddy? Good to see you. Banks are raising the amortization period. This is what I've been looking for. I think it's one of the signs that we are actually going to be into some trouble. If they end up opening in Canada, 30-year mortgages again, 35-year. In the US, I'm looking for 40-year. That's going to be one of my markers. Intro, you said the UN has been trying to destroy the Western world since 1992. I mean, there has been some questionable policies. Yeah, what can we say? Isn't it more easy to reduce the interest rate rather than printing more money? It's the same mechanism. If you reduce the interest rate, the governments aren't making a lot of money, so they have to print more money to pay all the bills. So it's kind of like it's the same thing happening at the same time. If you reduce the money supply, so don't print a lot of money, you restrict the money supply, interest rates would also go up. And that's what happened in the 80s. Paul Volcker, he didn't adjust the interest rate. What he did is restrict the money supply and let the real market dictate what the interest rates were. It went higher than anyone expected. So what's happening with real estate? Yeah. Real estate's going to get pummeled. And listen, this isn't really like rocket science, guys. The higher the interest rate goes, the lower the price of the home goes. Higher it goes, the lower it goes. That's it. Montreal Services said, start reading. Damn, Skippy. Couldn't have said it better myself, buddy. Get reading some books. I got some courses and some books coming out as well. You cannot read enough. If they reduce interest rates, then loans would be paying off sooner and banks would lose. Listen, the banks never lose. The banks win every single time. The whole system is set up for the banks. Montreal Services, you said, what about infinite banking? Infinite banking is okay, but only if everything else is set up for yourself. If you already have a couple businesses that are working and you already have a couple companies and a holding company and already have your properties and already have your RESPs for your kids and your TFSA is full, you have your gold and silver already set up, then you do infinite banking. It's not really something that I would do at the beginning. It's the cherry on the top of the sundae. It's not the base. What about real estate in Canada? Canada is one of the most over leveraged markets in the world. So we're facing some serious trouble in Canada. The bigger they are, the harder they fall. So the higher the prices, the harder they're going to fall. Hey, you guys on YouTube too, if you guys have any questions, please put them there. I'm monitoring it too. I'll help you. I'll get to them if I can. Farm Boy, you said you had a 30-year mortgage, up amortization to 38-year mortgage. Where is that? Where do you live? Where's the house? Where's the mortgage? The banks don't really care. When you're saying banks, it's two different types of banks. We could have central banks or we can have little banks, right? The central bank is the one that sets the whole rate for the whole country. And then the regular commercial bank will add 2%. So the Bank of Canada will borrow the money at 3.5% and then give it to you for 5%. They make that 1.5% in the middle, maybe 2%. Yeah, and the banks have been winning like crazy. Look at just since the giant health crisis has happened, the banks have made $40 billion. What other company do you know has made $40 billion always? Crazy, right? Real estate Maz, is my brokerage looking for realtors? No, not at this time. I'm a real estate broker myself. I got a team that works for me, but we got a lot of people working with us right now. Chatham, Ontario, you got a 38-year mortgage in Chatham? My goodness, I can't even believe it. That's unbelievable. 38 years in Chatham. Unbelievable. With TD. Well, you guys, you got me. This is the first time that I've seen it. I've never seen that before. 38 years. Have you guys seen this? 38 years in Chatham, Ontario on a mortgage. Unbelievable. So the farther you go outside of Toronto right today, usually the safer you're going to be or the smaller your unit. So if you're getting into a small condo, you know, like the entry level ones, those ones will do okay. I'm talking about the big house, you know, like the McMansion type properties. I have 8 bedrooms and 10 bathrooms. Those are the ones that are going to hurt. Those are the ones that aren't going to be around. Those ones are going to go down. We just saw one this week went down $7 million. 7 million buckies. I can't even believe it. Crazy. Anyway, guys, if you have any questions about building businesses, how to get some cash flows, different streams of cash, you know, my wife and I have been working on it. We got 12 of them. Buying properties, put it in your private companies. But my biggest, one of our biggest business is all being a real estate broker. So we operate in Toronto and we operate from Oshawa to Niagara Falls up to Barrie. So we got a big area that we work in. We see houses selling all the time. We had an amazing week last week. I don't like to poke fun at that property, but if you go look online, there's not a lot of properties that have lost that much price. Actually, I don't even know if it's on realtor.ca, that one, because we have some private groups that we have some of the homes on. I'd have to go check that one out. Otis, you said your girlfriend is waiting to sell. Her place was 3.7 million. Ooh, those ones are the most in danger kind of areas. Those are the ones that could lose the most, right? Just because the interest rate will affect the people with the highest debts the most. They're the ones that got hurt. So do you guys know a place called Casa Loma in Toronto? Casa Loma. If you go to Casa Loma, where is that the Casa Loma family? Where are they? Those guys in Casa Loma, they lost because the taxes changed. The city of Toronto started taxing by how many windows you had in your house. So now you had this big ass house, windows all the way around, and everybody couldn't afford the taxes anymore. That's why if you walk around Toronto, a lot of the windows are bricked up just to avoid taxes. Kind of crazy, right? Kind of crazy. Anyway, did I help you guys out? Did I answer some of your questions? I hope I did. I hope I helped you out. Anyway, there's a lot happening in Toronto. There's a lot of real estate problems that are happening. Yeah, real estate Maz, you said you have cash buyers that are sitting on the sidelines. So does everybody. Honestly, I think money is almost like, is it free or something? Because everyone we talk to is sitting on mountains of cash. So that's where they're all trying to, like deer stuck in the headlights, right? They're scared to move. They're scared to buy right now because they're buying in this decline, right? It's really, really tough. It's really, really tough for a lot of people. Right now, there's still some amazing deals, but it's not all real estate. Even my own family members are kind of crazy because they're like, oh no, you just got to put your money in real estate. I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. You can't just put your money in any real estate, any city, any size of building, any type of building. You got to be very specific. There's only certain ones that are going to be generating good money. Leo May, can I ask you a question just because I'm interested, honestly, in what you're saying. You said, I'm happy to hear real estate is crashing. So can you just tell me, do you own a property? Are you looking to buy a property? That's what I'm kind of curious about. There are homeless people. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of homeless people in Canada. You own a house? Okay. And so your home, do you have a mortgage? Here's the reason I'm asking, okay? Because whenever we see that home prices are crashing, we have, just like the real estate Maz here, we have a lot of buyers sitting in cash on the sidelines waiting to buy a property. What they're shocked at when they get through the process is they find out that home prices have gone up. What do you mean, David? Is because home prices may have dropped from 1 million down to 800,000. Home prices have come down, but as interest rates have gone up, the payment has gone up. So the payment on $1 million home before may have been $4,000, and now it might be $6,000. I don't know. I'm just spitting it out there. The payments today for a home are way higher than they were in February. So as the prices went down, the payments have gone up. And most people who buy a home are buying it with a mortgage. And if you're buying a mortgage, you're not really buying a home, you're buying a payment. And the payments have gone up. And that's where everyone is kind of like in shock and trying to figure out how to deal with this and how to move forward. I'm talking my children because rent is too high. And you're taking in your children. Maybe your children are moving back home, right? Yeah, home prices are very, very high. And there's no sign that they're going to be getting less. So, the Canadian government wants to bring in 500,000 people to a country where there's no homes. And we're not building homes really much right now either. So we normally build 250,000 homes, and more than half of them are all frozen. Nobody's building right now because they can't afford it. Labor is at all-time high and materials at all-time high. So if they went to go build a home, it's going to cost them $1 million. And not everyone can afford that. Hey, Katarina, thank you very much for saying that. She says I'm smart. I'm not smart. I'm just a nerd. I read a lot. I have to read 3-4 hours a day just to keep up with all this stuff. All along the road, parents have kids in trailers in their backyard. Unbelievable. Really? Leo May, where do you live that's happening? Now, I know that kids are moving in with their parents all over the place, but I didn't know that there's areas that have trailers in all the back of the yards. Unbelievable. Real estate Maz, cash buyers are not worried about monthly payments. Right. Absolutely. Cash buyers don't need a mortgage, but when you do have a mortgage, then the prices will really, really get affected. You live in Ontario. Yeah. So you know what? People are really, really suffering. They're really, really having a hard time. Absolutely. If any of you want to come on live with me, if you feel comfortable to do so, you can go on live. I think that I turned it on to accept it. If you had any questions for me and you want to talk to me instead of typing it out, you can do that too. High taxes, yeah. Taxes are going up too, right? If you just look at Parliament, they're talking about raising taxes on everything, right? The GST taxes and the carbon taxes and everything, all taxes are going up. Cities need money. The federal government needs money. There isn't a lot of good news on that front. So if we know which direction it's going to go, we're going to most likely see a lot of money printing. If we see a lot of money printing, we got to somehow outrun inflation, which is really, really tough. We need to somehow create other businesses, other income coming in, side gigs to compensate for what's going to happen to inflation. Katerina, so here's the thing. There's always good deals in real estate, always. But it just depends where you're going to buy, right? And so that's why I'm doing a course. The course is going to be long. I don't know how much. I'm actually thinking of breaking it up because the course will be about like 25 or 30 hours long. But it's basically everything that I've learned in all of the businesses over the past 20 years to try to make it super condensed. You're in Montreal. Yeah, I wouldn't be buying in Montreal right now. By the way, Katerina, I'm from Dorval. You know where Dorval is? That's where I was born and raised. Spent my whole life in Montreal. Then I moved to Toronto. So, yeah, I love Montreal. Montreal is like my heart actually sits there. I think it's smarter to wait if you're looking to buy a home in Montreal. And does that mean that you own in Montreal, or does that mean that you rent in Montreal? If you were going to buy a rental property in Montreal, I wouldn't even do that. Right now, the delay has been so long that when somebody moves into your property and they don't pay for whatever reason, bad economy, in Quebec, they're the absolute worst in Canada. A tenant could live there for 2 years before you can get the eviction process going. So you can't risk all of your money in that property and letting somebody live there for 2 years. I wouldn't do that. Absolutely not. But right now is not a time to be buying in Vancouver, Montreal, Ottawa, Toronto, Ottawa, maybe certain types of properties, 1 or 2 bedroom condo in the downtown core could be a good property. Montreal is a no-go. Montreal, you don't buy investment properties in Quebec. You buy for yourself. And so you have to buy something that is smart for yourself. Lee, all right, buddy. Yeah, it's buy in Alberta, man. I'm a huge fan of Alberta properties. But, I don't want to live in Alberta. It sucks. Okay. It's very, very high. It's cold. It's dry as heck. I don't want to live there. But where I want to live and where I want to invest are two different things completely. Yeah, Katerina. If you're interested in a course, it'll be coming out within about a month or two. You can click on the link and or send me an email, contact@Rough Team Realty. You can send me an email and just write course in the line if you want. If you're interested in one of our books, you can just write. I have several being written, but the first one will be coming out on investing through a pandemic to counteract inflation. So that one you could just write book in the title, contact@Rough Team Realty. But I wish you guys the best, man. It is going to be a tough, tough, tough market. Really, really tough. So I want you guys to kill it. And you can. Everything is available to you, right? I wish that I could say that everything that I learned was my own ideas. I learned it all from reading books. I just read a lot of books. Real estate drives up the cost for those living on minimum wage. Absolutely, yeah. And real estate's going to continue to go up. Can I tell you guys, maybe you don't know this, but I tell people on this openly, I was on welfare. I was broke. I couldn't afford anything. I couldn't afford food. I couldn't afford gas. It was freezing to death. Couldn't afford heating, nothing. I had a terrible time. So I look at the economy and I know that it's squashing people on minimum wage. I was on minimum wage. But I was able to take myself from minimum wage and then welfare and then look at where I am now. And I did that through relentless amount of work, relentless amount of education, and reading a lot of books. So I think that we live in a good country where that's possible even. Katerina, you're saying, do we invest in precious metals? Absolutely, man. I tell everybody all the time, buy silver, buy gold. Everybody should have these. There's a really good store in Montreal that sells gold and silver. I buy all my metals from Montreal still. I told you I'm from Montreal. But if you want that, you can go to the link in my bio. It shows you where I get all my metals. I've been buying them there for, oh boy, at least 15 years. Real estate is inflating home prices. You mean inflation is inflating real estate prices, right? Yeah. Katerina, yes, that's the right email. Yeah. Contact@Rough Team Realty. And if you want to know where to get gold and silver, just go to the link up here. Okay. Otis, education is priceless, not university or college. Yeah, exactly. Read books. David has books to recommend. Otis, absolutely. Katarina, if any of you guys want to really expand your knowledge, if you go to, this is TikTok. You can go here to my link. In there, I have a book of books that 10 books, I think it was, that I suggest that you start to read right away just to get yourself on the right path. Kind of beginner books, foundation, like a pyramid. If you have this many foundational books, then you only need a smaller amount the next level and smaller amount the next level. Of course, I keep telling everybody to read some of these heavy duty books. But when I say to go read the Ray Dalio book, The Changing World Order, or Peter Zian book, when I'm recommending these books, I'm saying that this is advanced reading. This is not first books to be reading. You'd be depressed if you read those, the first one. So I would go here and read the top 10 books. Real estate is going to be the thing that fires off your entire investing career and gets you forward. And that's what you got to do. But unfortunately, just through the constraints here, we don't have 25, 30 hours for people to sit in one shot. You would have to be able to have the ability to sit and read a couple hours a day. So that's why the courses that I'm filming are going to be quite long, because I'm going to explain to you why we have to do the things that we have to do. If you're not the one making the commission on a home sale, of course the agent is going to raise the price of the property. I don't know what that means. I'm sorry. If I'm not making the commission on the home sale, of course the agent is going to raise the price. I think you got to tell me a bit more about that. Otis, yeah, your Rich Dad, Poor Dad is a great beginner book. Amazing beginner book. I think everybody should read that book. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Cash Flow Quadrant, Tom Wheelwright and his book, Tax-Free Wealth. Here's the great part. You don't have to pay taxes if you don't want to. Taxes are usually your number one expense, right? Taxes are number one. Then what's another one? Rent is probably next. If you have kids, they're probably even higher than rent. But if you don't want to pay taxes, you don't have to. You just have to learn the systems of the country that you live in. So Canada and United States both have books that you can read on how to pay no taxes. I just got Tom Wheelwright's book earlier this year. I have it still on my desk. The Win-Win Wealth Strategy, 7 investments that the government will pay you to make, because you don't have to pay taxes if you don't want to, if you do it right. Leo May, you said your neighbor wanted to sell the land next to me for $25,000 for 2 acres. Wow. That's a big amount of land. So I really don't know if that's a good deal. If you're downtown, 2 acres would be worth, $2 billion. So it all depends. I hope it's a good deal for you. Lorenzo, you said you don't want to pay taxes. Me neither, bro. Me neither. Ooh, okay, Lorenzo, I have to stop you. I have to stop you with that sentence, okay? You said, do you know any other good books for tax avoidance? I have to push back on that. We do not do tax avoidance ever. Not even $1. Here's the funny thing about taxes. The people who cheat on their taxes are usually the middle class people who are cheating on it. We all know people who cheat on their taxes, right? That's kind of dodgy. You can get big trouble, fine, go to jail. We never want to do that. We want to do things that the government is begging you to do. And this book will actually go in to teach you to become a partner with the government and how to get tax credits back. And so usually all countries do this. And even if you're going to read this book by Tom Wheelwright, let me just grab it for you. If we look at almost any page, he'll have a list of all these different countries that are going to be telling you all the same type of tax code. Countries really need housing, jobs, food, and energy. Housing, jobs, food, energy. If you do those 4 things, the government will be thanking you like crazy, giving you huge tax rebates for providing those 4 things to the country. So this is about understanding the Canadian tax code, the US tax code, wherever you are, going through it and looking at it. Remember, the tax code could be like 1,000 pages long, The first page is the only page that tells you what the tax rates are for 9 to 5 workers. All the other pages, the hundreds and thousands of pages after that, are all tax credits, things that you get money back for. So where should you be putting your time? You should be putting your time in this system where you can get all of this money coming back. You just got to become a partner of the government and decide who do you want. If you want to work for somebody else, you can do that. You can also have a side job and learn what the tax codes are. So get a real good tax strategist, get a good accountant to help you save money, because you don't have to pay taxes if you don't want to. Oh, wrong glasses, you guys. So it's not tax avoidance. We are becoming friends of the government. Lorenzo, I know you said that's what you meant. That's really good. I'm glad that you said that, because the big difference, right? Montreal Services, Canadian friendly. Yes, but I don't suggest that book. Get his other book, Tax-Free Wealth. It's a lot better. Otis, you're very right. Don't avoid taxes ever. We find techniques to reduce our tax, and the government will thank you for it. Leo May, you said the real estate agent raised the prices on the land next to me for $94,000. It sold in 30 days. Oh, the same land that he offered to you for $25,000? Ouch. Wealthy Barber. Yeah, I read that book a long time ago. Yeah, I remember that. Right. And you're saying, Leo May, that as we raise the prices on homes, it's hurting people on minimum wage. Absolutely. Maximize TFSA stocks, Otis, you're saying? Maximize TFSA stocks was tax-free savings account for the Americans. And it's kind of like a Roth IRA. Get in good dividend paying stocks. Lorenzo, the book I would read is by Tom Wheelwright, Tax-Free Wealth. This is the guide, but not this book. Oh, it's backwards, you guys? I got to see. I don't know how to flip the screen here. Here, Tom Wheelwright. This is the guy, but his other book called Tax-Free Wealth is better. I would read that one. If you Google RBC Wealthy Barber, RBC gives away a free copy. Oh yeah, maybe. I didn't know. Wealthy Barber is an old book. You can go read that. Canadian guy, I think, wrote that book. All right, you guys, this is kind of going to be your last call. I got to get going, but let me know if you have any questions about what we do. Mostly is selling real estate. So that's what I do most of my time in Toronto. So as people are trying to sell their homes, we try to get them more money a lot faster with a lot less hassle. After dealing with thousands of clients in my life, it always comes down to those three things. I want more money, I want it faster, and I want less hassle. So that's everything that we build is around those three things. Leo May, I can understand what you mean, but real estate inflating the home prices and land prices and making people homeless. This is the system, and a lot of this is caused by central bank money printing. So it's not even like the banks like in Canada, Bank of Montreal or Toronto Bank or Toronto Dominion, or Scotiabank. It's they're greedy too, but the biggest greedy pigs here are the governments that are printing that money, right? I understand that you're saying who cares, but I'm telling you that it matters who's doing what. I know that the outcome is the same, but it's important for us to know where it's coming from. Does anyone else have any other questions, you guys, on anything real estate, buying homes, selling homes right now? There's a lot of questions going on in the market. There's a lot of realtors out there. And listen, man, so many realtors are out there saying now is the best time to sell. Now is the best. Buy the dip, buy the dip. Now, they were saying August was the best time. Then they said September is the best time. Now, then October is the best time to buy. They're going to tell you every month is the best time to buy because they're desperate for commission. which I'm kind of against. If anybody is saying that to you, you got to get a new realtor. That's just how it goes. If somebody's desperate to sell you something, then you got to get another realtor. Katarina, when is my next live? I try to do them every night, but I wasn't able to do it for 3 nights. We were so busy. I had so many contracts going on. A lot of people are selling their homes right now. That's what we specialize in. So I'm going to try to come on tomorrow night and do another one. I normally come on between 7 and 8 p.m. And Katarina, if you have any questions specifically, send me a message, okay? Contact at Rough Team Realty. How many mortgages can one person have? Unlimited. You can have 1,000 if you want. The great Robert Kiyosaki has 13,000 mortgages. Sammy, what's a great time to buy? It's a great time to buy if it's a good deal. So I'm buying deals all the time. All the time. If it's a good deal, we buy it. Leo May, you said, yeah, that if there's greed out there, everyone wants to make money, but God is watching. Yeah, for sure. We should all treat everybody nice, right? Everybody should just treat everybody nicely. Why can't they, right? And we work in a world now and everyone wants to be divisive and I hate you because of blank, whatever it is. And they want to dissect everybody into different genders, races, well, I don't know, whatever, religions, whatever. Why can't we all just treat people nicely? I don't know. Like, what happened to the golden rule where we're always kind to everybody? I think we should bring back some of these old school values. What do you think? I think so. Does a lender bank have limits? No. Banks are in the business of lending money. They want to lend money. The more money, the merrier. If you could take more money, they'll give it to you. Montreal Services. So I have 4 different businesses, but 2 of my businesses are holding companies. So I have quite a few. I only have a couple in my name, but most of them are held in the holding companies. All right, you guys. Well, I think I've exhausted all of our questions for tonight. I hope that you had a fun night. I hope that you learned a lot. Hope that you had some notes and you learn a little bit every single time that you come on. If you have any questions, contact at Rough Team Realty. We specialize in selling properties all over the Greater Toronto area. So Niagara Falls over to Oshawa up to Barrie. So if you guys need any help, let me know. Paul Murphy, you're very, very welcome. Follow me, please. You guys subscribe to me. And if you like any of the stuff here, please follow me on my YouTube channel. I'd really appreciate it. Exact same name. Very welcome, Otis. All the best. Have a good night. Woo! This is busy, eh, YouTube? Thanks so much, you guys. You didn't have a lot of questions tonight, but I'll catch you tomorrow, okay? Have a good night, guys.